Well, welcome everybody to this seminar session, the panel discussion on OTT and Broadcast Summit. I'm delighted to welcome along to this from EE, Sam Kemp, who is the Product and Devices Technology Director for EE, and also Jamie Hindhaugh. Jamie is the Chief Operating Officer at BT Sport, and it's been quite a partnership between BT and EE to bring this all together, the match day experience. I know you chaps have already done quite a lot of this kind of work explaining the match day experience partnership, so you've probably got a very good double act anyway, so I'll let you decide who wants to go first, but maybe Jamie, you could give us a bit of an introduction from a BT perspective as to what led to this all coming about.
Yeah, I think, okay. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, I mean, BT Sport, we're now 8 years old nearly, so still relatively young, and coming into a market that's got very strong competition, whether that's BBC or Sky. And one of our differences really, I think, has been our approach to innovation from the very start. So, you know, within 2 years in 2015, we launched 4K, the first live sports 4K channel anywhere in the world. We were the first to launch Dolby Atmos in 2017, first to do Live 360, first and still the only sports provider in the UK producing live 4K HDR. And we've done all of this under an editorial mantle, which was about taking people to the heart of sport. However, what we've been working on alongside this as well is a slight change in tact, as we, especially with the current pandemic, where we want to be more than just a broadcaster that is that one-to-many aspect, and we want to start bringing experiences that complements that live viewing experience. So that's the sort of path we've been on for the last couple of years. Of course, COVID-19, whilst very challenging, has also created great opportunity for us to be able to engage with fans in a very different way and bring them into our programming as well, but to give them experiences they're not currently able to get because they can't attend games. And then, of course, being part of BT, we've always had a very strong relationship around the opportunities around broadband and networks, and of course with EE as part of that, and 5G come into prominence. We work very closely with those teams to look at what the opportunities are, and I think it's a fantastic enabler for broadcast to be able to understand connectivity and understand the options that can bring. And 5G was always interesting to us. So initially we did the world's first live 5G outside broadcast back in 2018, and understanding where that will go with network slicing, etc., is really interesting. But what I'll do then is hand over to Sam, because from the EE perspective, I think within the iPhone 12 coming, therefore 5G really taking a big leap in prominence and availability, we pulled together to do something very special, which is match day experience. I mean, Sam, do you want to take over from that?
Yeah, lovely. Thanks, Jamie, and lovely to be here, Andrew. I think, you know, Jamie highlights a couple of really important points around, firstly, there's an incredible, rich history of innovation at BT Sport, and this was really an incredible moment in time for us. You know, our 5G network on the EE side reaching and going beyond 35% sort of population coverage. We've got an incredible array of new 5G smartphones arriving, and of course with the iPhone 12 encompassing 5G, this is where we really thought 5G is going to go mass market with that type of device. And then there were some incredible new features in that particular new device launch, with the likes of LiDAR bringing some real enhancements to not only bandwidth but also augmented reality capabilities. So it was just a perfect time to bring together incredible levels of BT Sport innovation, a 5G network that is, you know, the biggest and best across the UK, and an array of 5G smartphones. And, you know, that seeded a fantastic foundation to then highlight and dramatize some of these new features seen in Matchday Live.
And I think as well, I mean, Jamie touched on it there, but the COVID pandemic has focused the mind, really, hasn't it, on how you do communicate with fans. Some areas across the world, I guess some areas and some sectors in industry, one has to say, have almost benefited from the pandemic in a business sense. Has it driven this forward quicker for you than it otherwise would have done, Jamie?
Well, it was the iPhone 12 launch and 5G that really brought it, but it was fantastic around timing. And I think, to be honest, Andrew, what it's done, which is really positive, is reinforced how important fans are to live sport coverage. And it's really made us all think about, how do we complement that viewing experience? How do we talk to fans when they are in the stadiums, which we currently can't do really, the bandwidth issues. And so the two go hand in hand. And a lot of the services we launched, and to be clear, like the Watch Together, we've been working on for 2.5 years. But it just all seemed to come together at this right thing. And I think the one thing for me was around 5G is an enabler for now, but it's also a massive enabler for the future. So everything we launched under Matchday Experience isn't just for the now, but my God, it benefits the now for those fans who can't go to the stadiums. But what it'll enable us to do is these experiences will be available to fans when they're back in the stadiums, as well as all of our other audiences. And I think that's really, really, really exciting. And what I would say is for me, this is not about mass market, and each individual product of Matchday Experience on its own has different merits. But for me, and what I'm really proud of, is this combination of choice and this combination of experiences that when you put them all together alongside watching the main output on your big screen in 4K HDR with Dolby Atmos, if you've got it there, it's just phenomenal. So it really hit a moment. And we did the beta trial, for instance, for Watch Together as soon as the Premier League came back when no fans were there. So we actually put that out early to see how audiences could engage with it, and then had it as part of this wider launch. And but I think it's exciting that fans are now fully a part of the conversation when people like us are talking about how we broadcast live sport.
And really, Sam, from your point of view, this is a key thing, isn't it? Because we've been talking already this week here on the ISC Academy. We've been talking about the issue of Gen Z, Generation Z, and a lot of sports see sort of 40-year-old people, be they male or female, as their sort of key audience, but the sort of the 18-25 sector just aren't consuming their sport in that same way, perhaps through conventional television. So this is really a good time to be having products like Matchday Experience that really plays into the hands of people who want to consume sport in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it is offering enhanced or enriched sporting viewing experiences that meet the needs of a myriad of customer demographics. And it's so funny you mentioned the Gen Zs, because we look at the applications that they're using, whether it's, Snapchat filters or Instagram and TikTok, like these applications. There is definitely a rise in immersive viewing and the use of augmented reality. And we can see that because of device manufacturers, in the Apple and Android space, paying particular attention to these new technologies. And sort of when Jamie and I sat down to kind of design these features, that's exactly why we've started to tease out different ways of viewing, and whether that's taking you into the most intimate areas of stadia through augmented reality portals, which is of course also beneficial to the moment in time where fans can't get out to stadia, kind of enriches the experience, but also bringing reality from gimmick to usefulness is a really important strategy of mine, because I think we can use these technologies that have previously been seen as, let's say, a little bit gimmicky in the sense of a Snapchat filter or a lens that you would use for a moment in time. And we can surface those technologies using real-time statistics, real-time data to give enhanced levels of viewing experience just through a different mode of communication.
And Jamie, important, isn't it, for broadcasters like BT to really be coming up with these innovations, because there is a suppose one of the things that's come from COVID is almost a marketplace situation now, where clubs at all levels, in the football world anyway, have been looking at different ways of streaming their matches to their fans, and this will really give you a very strong base should the day come, as perhaps inevitably it will at some point, when broadcasters are almost bypassed by OTT operations, where clubs go directly to fans, and that this will keep you in that marketplace.
Yeah, I think it's more fundamental than that. I mean, you know, everything we do, people engage with sports, a social viewing experience, and you have to take that into account. You know, that's why we didn't do 3D, for instance, and everything we do means you can still communicate with the people around you and still be engaged with them when you're doing that. But it's got to be authentic, and you can't start developing products or services because you think you're hitting a certain generation trend. For me, it's got to hit our editorial strategy, which doesn't take you to the heart of sport. It's got to give you something more than just that viewing experience, and also really importantly for me as well is you've got to be able to do it on the go. And this is what I love about this, you know, and you'll know I did the Olympics in 2012 for the BBC, and one of the things that always sat by me was the way that you could get up in the morning, watch breakfast TV, drive to work or travel to work listening to 5 Live, and then get into the office and stream the Olympics. It's that continuum, and I don't know about you, but my life is very, very busy, and I love watching sport and I love engaging with sport. So when you can pull all of that together, I think it's really, really powerful. But it's on top of that, it's got to be the right stuff. And also, the one thing I would say, and I think it's really important to remember what BT Sport is, because BT Sport as a broadcaster is an aggregator of rights. So for any rights holders that have their rights on BT Sport, similar to on Sky, they get the halo effect and the benefit of other rights. And that's where we need to reinforce that's what we do. And almost what we've done with our innovation is we've aggregated the products that enable you to engage with the sport alongside the benefit of having those multiple sports together in one place. So it's I think it's really exciting. I think it's a fantastic challenge and opportunity for broadcasters everywhere.
Sam, tell us a little more, if you would, then, about the actual technologies involved. I mean, you must have been, I know you've been busy working for years on designing products and technologies. I mean, what has gone in from your point of view to the matchday experience that just wasn't on the market before?
I mean, it's probably a good time to also just run down, and Jamie, you know, feel free to chip in on some of the production technologies behind the features. But if we look at the watch together capability, you know, the ability at an application level on the device to not only utilize new bearer technologies like 5G, but also to start splitting the screen real estate, injecting multiple feeds at an application level simultaneously, bringing a level of synchronization, you know, has really allowed that sort of watch together capability to be relevant and provide the right customer experience in today's market. We've got this great capability in the watch together plus functionality, where of course TVs generally don't have front-facing webcams. So if you want to engage in the watch together functionality, but also watch the game on your big large screen TV at home, we've worked on a fantastic little technology that allows you to continue to use the front-facing camera of your smartphone to capture your face whilst watching on the large screen for broadcast to your friends and family. That's really quite powerful. And I think Jamie, in the 360 space, you know, Jamie and the team have spent, you know, a huge amount of time looking at the 8K camera technology that provides the 360 functionality. And I'll let Jamie just speak to a moment to the camera technology, the 8K.
Yeah, so
Jamie, if you just want to pick up on that.
We've been providing live 360 now for 3 years using 4K cameras, and we've done curated feeds or we do single feeds, and there are a couple of challenges with that, and you'll appreciate this, Andrew. Firstly, where you can put the cameras around the ground that are not getting involved either with the fans in the ground or the other broadcast cameras. Secondly, the picture quality. And thirdly, if you're going off to different cameras, being able to stay within the context of the game as a whole. Yeah. So we've been working very, very hard with a company called Tile Media to deliver 8K capture that enables us to also pinch and zoom. So again, where the cameras are is slightly different because you can zoom in or you can zoom out. And then overlaying on top of that is an AR Jumbotron. So whichever camera you go off to, if you look up, you've still got that game playing, so that you can be completely synced. And that's taken us a long time to do. But I think the picture quality's really got to work for you to be able to really enjoy that. And what I love, I remember when we did the 2017 Champions League final with the Gareth Bale overhead kick, if you remember that. And you being able to use that 360 camera and those bragging rights with your mates where you could sort of stop it and turn it around and what have you was phenomenal. But for me, always the picture quality wasn't quite where it should be. Whereas now I think we've got that. And again, you know, it just showcases, it's a bit like Watch Together with Scenic. That's taken 2.5 years because the syncing was the hard thing. But working with Scenic on that, working with Tile Media on that, it goes right back to who BT Sport are as a broadcaster, which is about partnerships and it's about relationships and it's about identifying those really clever people and bringing us all together as a family to deliver great products to our audiences.
These days, you'd need a 360 camera on Gareth Bale on the bench, wouldn't you, to get different angles of him rather than doing that. Sam, again, so who really led on this? I mean, was this you telling BT you'd got these products available? Was it Jamie saying to you, I want to do this, what have you got that could do that for us? How did the partnership work?
Interesting. So I think it was absolutely, but by collaboration, Jamie and the team have a very well defined, very thought through innovation roadmap with a whole host of really interesting technologies that are even in development today for deployment in the future. And the brief really came from the arrival of a new smartphone in a 5G device, and us taking some insight into what may arrive in that device, the 5G connectivity and technology, but also the arrival of new sensors, as I mentioned earlier, in the form of LiDAR. So it was very much a case of Jamie and I sitting down right back, I think it was February time, saying, how are we going to bring to life the benefits of a 5G network? How do we give our customers use cases where they can use a service that is within our control to build the application, to define the production functionality, to create the augmented reality assets? You know, this was a use case that we wanted to have within our control, other than working with our fantastic partners, something to which Jamie's already touched on. But it was very much the two of us sitting down, looking at the BT Sport innovation roadmap, looking at the arrival of new 5G devices and the sensors that arrive in those. And at a particular moment in time, of course, September, October, with the realism that if we push the teams, you know, particularly hard, could we ladder up and deliver a set of services that could change the sporting experience forever, take augmented reality from gimmick through to usefulness, and ultimately change that innovation dial. So it was absolutely collaboration between the two teams, and I suppose that is the absolute benefit of the BT consumer division. You know, under the umbrella of consumer, we've got, you know, 3 fantastic brands and an absolute world leading BT Sports production facility, and you know, we've been able to leverage some of that cross-consumer capability to deliver this.
And Jamie, again, from your point of view, I guess knowing what you can now do through football and with the link with EE, does this make you excited about other areas in which BT Sport could bring this in, and perhaps even, you know, tendering for other sports in order to bring in this technology?
Yeah, I think, I mean, Sam's spot on. I mean, we both work for the same company. So therefore it's, you know, I've got a roadmap now. I know what we're going to be doing for the next 2 to 3 years as a framework and what we've been working on, because these things, as you know, Andrew, take time. We work with our research and development company, which is part of BT Technology as well, to help us develop those. So yes, it's exciting, and I'm really excited by 5G, full stop, because one of the limitations we have, there's two things for me. Firstly, the creative opportunity. So when you can untether cameras, so when your camera 2 could also be the camera coming in on the supporters bus, could also be the camera in the dressing room, and then the guy just rocks up to his camera 2 position. You can start seeing that real creative opportunity about how you use cameras. I think is really exciting. And the other thing for me that's hugely exciting is I feel as broadcasters, the one area we can never bring in properly into our coverage is fans at the stadia. And 5G is going to enable that. So what you're going to enable to do, if we're really clever with this, is we're going to be able to engage and use the conversation of fans in the stadium, so that fans who are not in the stadium feel part of that conversation. And that will impact on our editorial opportunities, but also on driving that experiential thing where you might not be in the stadium, but you can feel like you are because you're part of the conversation. You understand, that VAR decision, how the fans really feel in the stadium, and all of that coming together. So 5G for me is, this is just the start, and it opens up massive opportunities for broadcasters.
Just staying with you for a moment, Jamie, what has been the feedback in terms of in terms of BT Sport, not just from your subscribers, but from rival broadcasters, and I'm thinking worldwide, really. Obviously, the likes of Beins and DAZNs and people like that. Has there been a lot of interest in what you're doing? Is there a lot of demand from others to do the same thing there?
We get a lot of, I think, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not an arrogant person, but we are respected as one of the most innovative sports broadcasters in the world, which I'm really proud of, actually. But I think it's also because we get it right, Andrew. Again, AR was always a difficult one for me about how far do we push this, but enabling it to give you a doorway into a stadium, then you can see how that works. And we get a lot of feedback. We get a lot of positive comments in general about BT Sport, because it's seen that it's more than just broadcasting a live game, and match day experience, as I talked earlier, that combination and the fact it was all delivered during lockdown has been really well received. And we always look at what everyone else is doing, what each other are doing, and we're always happy to share as well, because let's be honest, I'm a UK and Ireland only broadcaster, so my audience is limited with these products, and again, I see with that opportunity the partners who work with us, who do have reach for other broadcasters in other territories, and we actively support that, because I think if you've got something that works, the more people that adopt it, it shows it works, but then it enables you through your partnership with that partner to keep developing it and keep building it, and so it's a win-win. So yeah, I'm always very grateful for the positive comments we get back.
And that must be exciting, Sam, for you, because regardless of this partnership, we do perhaps tend to look across the water to the United States for perhaps innovations around sports broadcasting in the American sports, and tend to sort of, perhaps history says we've adopted those over in Europe and the rest of the world subsequently. Is it right to suggest, do you think, that this is something that is a first over on this side of the water and will find its way to the States?
Yeah, completely. I mean, we obviously do our research globally, looking at what competitors or partners in different territories are undertaking. But I think right now, without any question, it is the most immersive sporting experience globally. We've seen some of our friendly partners in the American football market launching similar capabilities, but they are not at the same level of integration that we've brought, certainly with the watch together capability with our partner at Scenic, driving synchronicity between the games, so all parties on a particular video session receive the data at the same time. The levels of depth that we've gone to with the augmented reality studio quality assets in manager mode are incredibly accurate at the time of gameplay. And I think Jamie's, is very accurate in his sentiment that I think right now globally there's nothing that really comes close to this as a fully thought through sort of process that includes both, multi viewing, augmented reality, and studio quality graphics with Dolby Atmos, end to end through the watching experience.
I was going to just jump in on that, Andrew, because for me, the sweet spot as well is thinking about working with our partners as a broadcaster, not just a sports broadcaster. So Dolby Atmos streaming, with the first broadcaster anywhere in the world to have cracked how you stream Dolby Atmos over the top to big screen compatible devices. So imagine what that's going to do for the Netflixes and all the rest of them who are OTT. And that's why Dolby get excited. And that for me is that real sweet spot where we're bringing BT ingenuity, BT sport coverage to showcase the capabilities of a product. But you can see how that's going to open up that opportunity, because that's a game changer for me. So that's where we always try to go. And sport is a great way of driving awareness and driving engagement. But everything we're doing, watch together. You could overlay as a broadcaster on entertainment shows, dramas. And again, I think in this current climate where we can't all actively get together, it's nice, isn't it, not to just revert to WhatsApp or messaging, but to be able to watch the content and see the reaction of your friends and family all live at the same time. I mean, it's a complete game changer for me.
I think on that one as well with the Dolby, I mean, really give it a go, Andrew, right? Because I think there are different algorithms as well in different headphones, and it's incredible how lifelike the stadium noise is with Dolby end to end.
And just in terms of the technological developments, Sam, I mean, I come from, I don't know about Generation Z, I think I must be Generation A. But I remember about 20 years ago when we were doing commentaries for UEFA on the Champions League, being sent to Munich to a broadcast premises there where there was broadcasters from 7 or 8 different countries in little booths just doing 30-second bits of commentary on Champions League games. And I always seemed to be in the booth next to the Spanish commentator that just went goal for 30 seconds. I thought, why do I have to talk about specifics? But again, I was asking the question there about who is watching this, and then they were saying there 2002, 2003. This is a conduit that's going onto a mobile phone, but it's a conduit to get it onto a big screen. From your point of view, Sam, you've been working in this world. Is it sort of overfull now? Is it overflowing with these innovations, which mean that we're just going to see a constant stream of new developments coming online now, very much like Matchday Experience?
No, I don't think so. We're very keen to give personalization. So I think what we're trying to do here is to carefully cherry pick the best of technologies that we have within the EE, BT roadmaps, and to take those to market in a way that can give customers a level of personalization. If it's your seat, your view, whether it's the way that you want to listen to particular audio streams, even right down to hearing impediments or disabilities in and around how you can view a game. I don't think we're saturating it from a features perspective. I think it's very much about carefully selecting the right technology, giving our customers some choice and flexibility. And for me, that's what enriches the best experiences, that you can give the customer that real choice of how they may want to watch a game, whether it's on their own or with friends, a different particular level of audio. So I think giving flexibility is really key to our approach.
And Jamie, that's important, the point that you made about Dolby, wasn't it? And the fact that it's an innovation that's come through sport, but could be used by all genres in broadcasting. And you mentioned Netflix. I mean, that certainly is something that's been the case in the past. I remember when BBC started with the red button, it was used, sport programs were used as the trial to see if it could work on EastEnders or work in other areas. It didn't necessarily evolve that way, but sport does have this track record of, pardon the pun, of being a suitable place for innovations like this to be trialed.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, 4K, we were a year ahead of anyone else. I mean, the only one that actually in a live environment that was around a lot longer is HDR, because in post HDR was a lot more manageable. Live was a real challenge. But you know, we did 8K in February. And again, it's because I think sport, in, you know, and I'll re-emphasize this, it's got to be credible, it's got to be authentic what you're doing. So you don't do 8K just for the sake of it. But, you know, watching that game in 8K, it just takes you closer to the action. And I think sport is something, it's one of the few things left that's an appointment to view. And the more detail you get, the more accurate your viewing of that game is. And then it's fine margins, as you know, in sports. So yes, absolutely. I think sport has traditionally, across all broadcasters, led the way. Because if you can crack it in live, I mean, you can do most things in post, but if you can crack it in live, it gives you real opportunity with how you capture content.
Sam, from your point of view, then you've mentioned, we talked about Dolby and their partnership. There must have been quite a few partners that have come together to deliver different aspects, different components of this for EE. Who have been the sort of the lead, the ones that stand out in terms of what they offer for this platform?
Well, we've got, first of all, I suppose, Andrew, look, it's an incredible set of partners. You know, for me, they've all been outstanding, and I'll take you through in a moment just, you know, the value and the role they've played. But it is the testament of their individual businesses and their ability to come into, you know, our complex organization and work, you know, in both, you know, an agile and collaborative manner to help us get over the line. I think Jamie alluded to this earlier, that the actual development cycle for this project was one of the shortest. I mean, I think I've, you know, in a 20-year career in telco, you know, 4 months or just under 4 months of development, we actually got, you know, started coding the application and bringing the partners in. So it's an incredibly short window. Looking across those partners, you know, Stats Performer, they provided all of the data for the augmented reality formations and attacking areas in the augmented BT Stadium that you can, of course, augment onto your kitchen table or your living room floor. Visualize, another augmented reality partner of ours. We've actually worked with that company a few times. It actually started in our advertising business, where we started to bring to life immersive technologies through our TV campaigns, and they helped create the 2 AR features, but more importantly, the AR portal doorway, which takes you into the most intimate areas of stadia. Second Spectrum, of course, they provide the video streams and augmented stats and graphics that go into the manager mode. And we've talked about Scenic a few times and their ability to help us deliver that watch together capability. And I think from Scenic's perspective, we gave them an extra hard challenge, which was, how do you bring a watch together technology and converge that in the home on the large screen? That was a big challenge, you know, and they really stood up strong to that and helped us deliver that watch together plus capability. And then, of course, Tiled Media, you know, long-standing partner in our 360 functionality space, and Delta Tray helping us integrate all the Tiled Media services into the BT Sport enhanced players. But it's absolutely a testament to their businesses and the way they worked together and with us that really helped us get over the line.
We've spoken already this week here about the linkage, if you like, between esports and conventional mainstream, in particular in football. How much of this, if any, Sam, does sort of owe its origins to technological developments in esports, do you think?
I mean, personally, I think without a doubt, and I suppose there's also some recognition as well to the gaming ecosystem. You know, I'm spending a lot of my time at the moment really getting up to speed, not only with sort of innovations coming through the esports space, but also the gaming space of, you know, football and sporting activations in the gaming ecosystem. The levels of innovation that we see in those areas are traditionally very high, and I think there's always an incredible watching brief to kind of see what's coming down the pipeline of those ecosystems. I think for me personally, the gaming ecosystem is one to keep a particularly close eye on. I think, you know, second screen, the ability to participate, chat, and immerse yourself in an experience was something we're going to become a lot more familiar with over the coming years. And I think some of those technologies will quite easily bleed into some of our product conceptualization sessions.
Yeah, I mean, a really good example, Andrew, for instance, is graphics engines that broadcasters now use, gaming engines, because of the power they have. So you can see there's a crossover, and for me, it's whether it's gaming, whether it's sport, or whether it's drama. It's about the production process and the tools that are available.
We touched on this earlier, Jamie. It'd be nice to just sort of go back to it briefly about broadcasters and a responsibility, if you like, in terms of delivering audience longer term. It is very much about the here and now, isn't it, and fulfilling existing contract durations. But in terms of where 18-year-olds are going to be watching their football in 10, 20 years' time as middle-aged people, is this something that you see as vital as BT, having these innovations to bring them with you, because they are now the second screeners, aren't they?
But they are, and I think we will. I'm determined we will redefine the term broadcaster, because the term broadcaster is one to many. And actually, when we're looking at IP, 5G capabilities, we're looking at the moment, and Sam's already touched on it, personalization, and giving people choice, and that includes, we've talked a lot previously, and we're planning on rolling out object-based broadcasting, which means you can select the graphics overlay you want, you can select the commentary you want, etc., all in a live environment. And I think there's an expectation from audiences that they want to be able to experience the live events how they want to watch them. The small screen app that we have with the enhanced player, where you've got the timeline where you can go and do your own goal replays or your own action replays. And I think all of that's important, and I think it is moving away from this one way, but at the same time ensuring that you can still watch together with your friends, or if you're at a pub or what have you, you can still get that choice of engagement, because sport is social, and you want to be able to be social. But I think, yes, I think the way we're going, and the industry will go this way, is to really build relationships. You need to give people choice that's editorially strong, that helps fit their lifestyles or fit their requirements, and that's definitely where we're going. And I think it's fantastic to move away from this one bang out it goes to, you choose what graphics overlay you want, you choose how big you want the graphics, you choose the level of stats you want because of your own experience. All live is phenomenal.
What's been the reaction of the governing bodies and the leagues and the clubs even? Because as you mentioned before, deciding where you put a particular camera, the club can turn around and say, well, you can't have it there, it's never been there before, and you're not going to start now, sort of thing. Are you getting a positive reaction from, in the UK, the Premier League in particular, to what you're trying to do? Are they going to buy into it?
Yeah, I mean, we launched Match Day Experience around the Premier League, so you always have to discuss with the leagues what you're doing. I mean, I think if you look at the stadium experience, where you actually go in and you see all that 360 capture, that can only happen with the cooperation of the clubs. And they've been phenomenal and super supportive, and then when I look at UEFA, for instance, 2017, we were the host broadcaster of the Champions League final, which is probably the biggest sporting event there is. That year, I think it was bigger than Super Bowl. We were producing the pictures for around the world, and we still did it. They supported us doing it in 4K, Dolby Atmos, and we did HDR in all three flavors, all live, and a live 12 camera 360 experience as well. And rights holders love it, because any way you can enhance their product or drive greater engagement around it adds value to their product, doesn't it? And I think as long as you're open, and what I'm really proud of is we have a track record that is respected by the likes of the Premier League and UEFA, and so we always do it in partnership. We're always very open about what we want to do, and quite rightly, we always seek permission, because at the end of the day, you're playing with someone else's product.
Sam, it feels like it's almost a bit of a monster here, isn't it? Because I was just thinking yesterday, we were talking to representatives from Formula One and from the tennis tour, from the ATP. They would all absolutely devour this, wouldn't they, as being fantastic as a means of developing interest and expanding fan engagement in their sports.
Without a doubt, and to say it is not an ambition of ours to bring a wide variety of the matchday live experiences to other sporting events would be completely underselling our sort of ambition. And I think it kind of plays into that gaming narrative we talked about earlier, and customization, because a lot of what Jamie talked through, selecting different camera angles, seeing player speeds, the tracking of a ball or the curvature of it going into a goal. When you apply that to other sporting ecosystems, whether it's MotoGP, the F1, rugby, and other great sporting events, you can see I'm going to use the term lightly, but the gamification of your customizable viewing experience. And for me, that's what gets me most excited, because we can give our viewers the opportunity to turn on or off the stats or the viewing angles that they find most important to them. And I'm only repeating what Jamie said around enhancing products. If you're the rights holder for a particular automotive event, and you can dial up the gamification and allow customers to come away from that with a differentiated experience, why wouldn't we allow that to continue to happen?
Absolutely. I'm interested in the partnership angle as well to this, just the corporate angle of how partnerships work. And I joked at the start about you two have become a bit of a double act in terms of social media, and where you've talked about this innovation since the launch back in October. But what really comes through in chatting with you like this is just the shared interest and the love of the product, and the shared passion almost to deliver something. I mean, that must have been absolutely key, that you have this symmetry between your own experiences. As you say, you've both got experience around working with BT, but you've got this shared passion to deliver, and that must have been absolutely key to the success of the project.
Yeah, I think it was, and that's the way we all work. And I think, we don't know everything, Andrew, and that's the point. So I'm an expert around the broadcast workflows and sort of understanding our audience requirements. Sam knocks spots off me when we get into products and 5G, and when he starts talking about Alexa and all of that. I'm sort of like, but to have that trust and support to enable me to understand the art of the possible from our side, and for me to be able to talk to Sam about, actually, that's interesting, we could do this, it was fantastic. And that's how all good relationships work, and it's about mutual respect. And we're working for the same organization, we're both part of BT Consumer. We want to do the right thing by our audiences, and you've got to lead from the front on that. You've got to be joined up, and you've got to have conviction in your belief about what is or isn't possible. And I think once you build that excitement, you don't look back. You might look in the rearview mirror every now and then just to sense check you've not run someone over.
And I would completely agree, because if I think back to, we've had some incredible conversations throughout this project, and I think back to some of the early ones we had where, I'd ring Jamie up in a flurry of excitement saying, could we do this, and what about this, and you get that knowledge and years of expertise and the complexity of production and how to put the feeds in and how to overlay graphics. And it really has been an incredible partnership, because I think we found two skill sets that are within their own right individually quite separate, but when you kind of bring them together, that's where we've been able to sit down and really kind of light the fire on some quite really interesting topics.
It must be difficult for you,
Andrew. So we also bring with us fantastic teams, and also partnerships. When you look back at the history of the launch of BT Sport, I've always been very vocal about this. We are successful because we've built a really strong community. And Sam's got a brilliant team working into him. We've got fantastic resource across BT, and I think if you treat partners with respect and you create an open environment, then those ideas come flooding in, and that support comes flooding in, and you can almost sit back a little bit. My job really is to say, this is the right thing to do, we're going to do it. Having that knowledge from Sam's job will be, yes, this is the capability, these are the timeframes we need to work for, work towards, or you're missing that there, and then we can almost just let everyone go, and that's the exciting bit.
Yeah.
Sam, just from your point of view, what really comes over is your, as I say, your dynamism and your enthusiasm around new products and developing things. Is there a challenge really to sort of almost stay put with this long enough to get the best out of it? Because in that sector where you talked earlier about the 5G, the development of new iPhones and other products like that, in an environment where there are new things coming on stream all the time, it must be so tempting to say, right, well, we've launched that, let's go and do the next thing. But it feels like for Jamie in particular, you really need to, the industry almost needs you to get the best out of this, because it feels like there's so much to come from the match day experience that we need 5 or 6 years to actually drag all the different bits out of it, don't we?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I'm constantly having the fire blanket thrown over me to dampen some of the levels of enthusiasm, because I think it is such an incredible time where we've got our ability to leverage the most complex of technologies, demystify them, and turn them into experiences, which is where I definitely get my energy from. Giving an experience to a customer, seeing them use it. But there's a way to do that, right? There's a way to stand back, and we've got to also talk about these features, because even through this call there are 6 or 7 rather complex, rather quite detailed experiences that we need our customers to start to use and get the enjoyment out of before we start to bring the next level or the next iteration of parts of Jamie and I's roadmap to life. So it is absolutely a fine balance of allowing customers to navigate, enjoy, understand before we turn the cycle a couple of clicks to the right, which is dropping in new features, new technologies, and new innovations. But it's a difficult one when you can see the capabilities are there, but you're having to find opportunities, moments to take them to market.
It's all about evolution, isn't it? Because there's one steady state in all of that, and that's BT Sport's editorial proposition to its customers. So it enables you to put the handbrake on. And I agree with you, Andrew. I mean, we just launched some fantastic products that will just grow and grow and grow. So it's just pure evolution, and then you may add to it as a new technology comes along, or Sam will say we've got this over there. But you've still got to stay true. You've still got that BT Sport narrative going through this, and is this credible for our audiences? Is this the right thing to be doing? And that for me is really good to have that handbrake every now and then to go, whoa, that's not right.
And in terms of the timing, there's 2 things that come to mind about where we are now. Of course, we're going into the Christmas period when I would imagine, Sam, there's a lot of handheld phone devices being sold as Christmas presents, but also we're seeing the return now slowly of fans into stadiums to watch those football products. So I guess both of you are hoping, as we all are, that 2021 is going to be a better year, but in particular focused on this product, you'll both be hoping to see 2021 really showing match day experience absolutely take off from its launch.
Yeah, and I think what I really love about this, Andrew, is when I go to a football match, I'm sitting having a beer, I've got the programme, whereas now I'll be able to hold my phone up and have a walk around the stadium that I couldn't normally do pre-COVID times, or I'll be able to at half-time put up the stats, or I'll be able to have a conversation with my mates. And I think this is very, very forward-looking for, hopefully, I can't wait for when we've got people back, crowds back in. We're seeing it already. We've changed our approach to audio, where we're defaulting where there are fans to not having enhanced audio, because it makes such a difference. And I think it's hugely exciting for this as an experience.
Sam, where do you see it going in 2021?
2021, goodness me. I think Andrew, we've got a locked door in HQ with some of the best talent and people in the industry creating use cases and case studies that we're looking for those moments to be deployed. I think 2021 is going to be about putting match day live experience really through its paces, we've got, you know, an already incredible take up of the capability. It's growing from strength to strength in terms of the number of people using it and finding new ways to use it in terms of, you know, new locations or inviting different sets of friends. We're even seeing people on social media kind of, you know, inviting each other they've never met before into a watch together room because they feel so passionate about watching a game. And why not watch a game with someone you've never met before? That's no different to sitting in stadia next to someone that maybe you've never met before. So I think the watching brief is 2021. Let's watch, hopefully, you know, match day live experience pick up a real pace, and then maybe towards the end of the year, some exciting new capabilities that could further add to its immersive journey.
Our hour is almost up, but Jamie, let me give the last word to you on this one. You've talked previously about your role around the 2012 Olympics. You've talked around being the host broadcaster for the 2017 Champions League final, but you know, in terms of looking back at some point in the future on your CV, is the launch of Matchday Experience going to be the highlight for you, do you think?
That's a really cruel question.
Sorry.
It's in my top three. I always thought looking after the Olympics for the BBC on radio, TV and online for such a momentous occasion would be, but number one actually is the capability that enables us to do Matchday Experience, which was launching BT Sport. The one that people would probably be surprised at, but you know the history of that, and it's created the culture, the ambition and the approach that's unlocked all of this. But yeah, Matchday Experience is in the top three, definitely.
Because I mean, the reason I ask it is that sometimes in this industry, events come and go for us, don't they? And that's not in any way, shape, or form you know. But 2012 was followed by 2016, and whenever 2020 happens, and like you say, Champions League finals. But it really feels like you're going to go down in history as somebody that brought this to the marketplace, and it has a long future there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do it for that, and you're making me feel very old now. But it's true to form. It's how at BT Sport can we give our audiences real experience, tapping into the opportunities they have at their fingertips, and we'll keep doing that because it's what sets us apart. And I think editorially, it's really, really important. So we'll see where the epitaphs lay. But I'm very proud of what EE and BT Sport have pulled together on this one, and I think the opportunities there is we're only scratching the surface on this, and I think with some clever production and some clever thinking around future experiences, this will just grow and grow. But I think Matchday Experience will be a phrase that is around for a very long time.
Sam Kemp from EE and Jamie Hindhaugh from BT Sport. Thank you both very much indeed for spending that time with us. It's been fascinating, and congratulations to you both on the success that you've delivered. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.